keep it moving right along. Your next presenter is currently in the process of bringing a node to every single school in El Salvador. He's going to tell you all about it. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Rogzy.
Hello everyone, my name is Rogzy. I'm the founder of Découvre Bitcoin, which basically provide mass scaling educational solution. So for people that know me, I educate people in the Francophone world, in Africa and Europe. I also now part of Plan B Network, which is basically a universal Bitcoin university in the world. And here I'm going to talk about the Node Nation, the idea that we want to basically provide every school of El Salvador, the 6,000 that there is, with one node and one Lightning ATM. So that idea is pretty big and crazy. So maybe we need to go back in time on like, why did I decide that this is the right path for Bitcoin education in that country, and what would be the benefit to have that type of infrastructure in the country. So everything started basically last year with adopting 2022 and an hackathon that we did at Ataco, a small city in the north. Basically, with a bunch of Bitcoiners, we went there to do an educational project, and we thought, what can we bring to that local community that has zero Bitcoin adoption? And instead of just saying, okay, you're going to learn about Bitcoin and we're going to set up Bitcoin and leave, we thought we're going to ask the community there, what do they need for their local need? So Bitcoin was only a tool to help them become a better community. And after talking to the kids, to the team, they decided that what was needed was basically cleaning equipment for the school and the streets. So they don't really care about Bitcoin, but they can use Bitcoin to bring a better life to their own community. So with them, we've set up a Lightning node, we've set up a Geyser fund, we raised money through the international community, and then the kids, what they did was taking that money, go into the streets, go to the shop, the merchant, their family and friends, and ask them to accept Bitcoin so they could buy the supply. And basically by doing that, we ended up with three big things. First of all, it was a bottom-up adoption from the students directly toward the merchant. So it's not us as foreign or gringos or Bitcoiners coming and saying, hey, you should accept Bitcoin. It's actually the students and the kids of the high school, so their nephew, their kids basically, the youth going to ask the merchant to accept Bitcoin. And this is so much more powerful because they don't trust us, but they trust their kids. So if the kids say Bitcoin is the future, they will accept it and they will move forward. And so we saw all those students going with their sats, forcing basically their own family, which are the merchant, to accept Bitcoin in an organic way and in a, let's say, better way. From there, the students learn how to manage money, budget, and also how to onboard merchants. So we thought, okay, this is the right approach. Having the school system bringing Bitcoin to the community is the right approach. It should be the youth and not the adult that accept Bitcoin. But how do we scale that? It's easy. We just put one Lightning node and one ATM in every school of the country. So we basically replicate the same system we made at Ataco, but on a larger scale. So every school can just have the kids put their pennies into a Lightning ATM, receive sats in their wallet, go to the merchant, and spend their sats. Bottom-up approach from the students to the community. The issue is how do you make it? And luckily for us, the El Salvadorian government have solved that issue because they've created what they call a student council group in the 6,000 schools of the country. It was a national thing, not Bitcoin related, but this is the entry point to bring Bitcoin to every school. So now, in every school of the country, there is that group of students with a secretary, a president, that are basically making a council in charge of the prosperity of the school and managing all the other students. They are literally at the same level of the directors, and though they have a lot of power. And we thought that it's with those group of students that we should collaborate. Not with the director itself, but with the students' council. We do that because those students are eager to learn, they understand that Bitcoin is the future for them, and they can take the responsibility of running a node, running a budget, because, well, it's their job, it's their passion, while the director really don't care. So if we try to force Bitcoin into the high school system through the usual hierarchy of the director, it's going to be impossible, it's going to take years, and it's not going to be efficient and sustainable. While if we bring it from the students and they manage everything, it could actually work. So we've decided of a pack that we should implement in every school. We call it the Sovereignty Pack. It's basically a node, a Lightning node. For now, we use Start9. We may change, but we think it's a good product. We bring a Jade, so they know how to have a hardware wallet. We bring them a mining conscience with non-miner because it's way cheaper than an S9 and it does the job. And we try to bring them with ATM. We use K1 because it's El Salvadorian made, but again, it's just a prototype right now. With that pack, basically, the student can have all the tools to make their own Bitcoin company and their own Bitcoin banking within the school system, because they can now connect all the students' wallet to their node. They can have their own Lightning payment channels. They can change and manage a non-KYC exchange directly at the school with the K1. So every student change their currency, and the student council take a small fee. So they're basically running a business, a Bitcoin bank business, at a really low level with really low volume, but it trains them to become entrepreneur. It's learned them how to be better in finance culture. It brings them the Bitcoin technology, and it basically makes them understand better the Bitcoin culture and also what it is. Because if you tell people like, yeah, just use Bitcoin, it's really abstract, but when they see that it's just a node, it's like a computer, when they see the ATM, when they feel it, they touch it, it's way more obvious for them how they should advance in the world, knowing that Bitcoin is legal tender here. So we've set up the first node in Usulután a couple of months ago, so the prototype and everything is already fully live. Usulután was a massive success. We've helped them set up their node. The community understand. They're really passionate. But setting up the infrastructure is definitely not enough. If we only focus on giving you the tools, but we don't teach you how to use it, or if we don't really convince them that the tools are useful for them, they're just going to forget it. They're going to throw it away. The next generation of students are going to forget, and nothing is going to work. So instead, we focus a lot on education. And my man here, Oscar, is doing an amazing job creating fun activity for them to learn, either through like his weekly program to teach them about Bitcoin or through school's activity. For example, how do you teach Lightning to students? You can just like have a PowerPoint, or like Oscar made them, they can like hold cords between each other, and you have elastics in the cord. And this represents the liquidity, and the cord represents the channels between the students. And so they can visualize how the liquidity will move. All those small gamification systems are so useful for the youth. And if we don't focus on having education, which is fun, it's never going to work. That's also something me and Bitcoin have tried to do, is make it interactive. And I think this is key. So the thing that Oscar is doing and the thing that we are doing is obviously open source. So we hope more people are going to use those tools. But it's not enough to just provide the equipment. We need to make them learn and how to use it. Then Usulután was a success. We are really happy with it. The issue is how do you scale? One school is really easy. 5 is doable. 6,000 schools start to be like a massive operational cost, time-consuming, problem-issued. People are going to try to get the money still. People are going to try to do different software. It's going to be a massive mess. So basically, the solution is to have, first of all, a Bitcoin culture in the country, which is what we are all doing. And also, we need more engineers. We need more Bitcoin talent that can basically support that. So the same way you can think of electricity company implementing routers and making the cables, we need the same. We need people going to schools, set up the hardware, set up the connection, explain them how the nodes are going to run together, connect them between schools, create like a network of Lightning infrastructure. But to do that, you need people. So we're really happy to hire Salvadorian people, and I think it's a tremendous opportunity for the country, and that's the whole point of having Bitcoin Silicon Thunder, is to grow the local economy with entrepreneurship and employment. But we need more Bitcoin engineers. And to do that, we had Cubo Plus. It's really right. Sorry for that. Cubo Plus was a massive success. It was an experiment to try to create Bitcoin engineer with 2 weeks of intensive boot camp. It was promoted by Stacy and the Bitcoin office. We helped with Deco Bitcoin and Forgive Ventured. But the issue is that they don't have enough candidates. They don't have enough people in El Salvador that are either eager to study Bitcoin in depth, that are eager to learn about computer science, or that really are passionate about it. And it's a chicken and the egg problem. Like, how do you get more people involved into Bitcoin at a really high level? Well, you need to start at the bottom. And so Mi Primer Bitcoin is doing that right now. They have already the government contract. They are going to every school. They are setting up a really basic layer of Bitcoin literacy by getting them a wallet and getting them interested. The issue is that Millennium Bitcoin is not technical because they're focusing on the masses. And Cubo Plus is really technical, so you don't get a lot of people. And so basically what we want to do is provide the tools to fit in the middle. So every school has the infrastructure and some basic classes for the people that are interested into Bitcoin from Millennium Bitcoin to basically move to our courses that we provide at the high school level, more technically. And if they feel like it's really interesting, they will move to Cubo Plus to be trained, to become like very good engineers. And then from Cubo Plus, they can basically help create the infrastructure and the network within the country. And if they want, they can help at the really basic level to onboard their local community, their local schools. So we basically provide tools for Millennium Bitcoin to be more efficient and for creating the next generation of engineers. It's going to take 5 years because obviously they need to be trained, but we have to start somewhere. For Millennium Bitcoin, we're not really competing because we are providing them with something that they don't have, technical expertise, and also they can use our tools. So now when Millennium Bitcoin is going to go to a new school, they can see physically and use the node that we put in the school. They can see the mining hardware that is in the school, and so the students will basically stop thinking it's internet money for money, but instead use the equipment that we set up for them. So we basically like lend them a tiny bit of the equipment for their educational purposes, while it remains to the Bitcoin Council. So officially, we've started a pilot with the Ministry of Education. So next year, we're going to set up the same thing we set up in Uzlanat in 5 other schools. We're going to try to push more, but we think 5 is good enough to have a good blueprint to be replicated. And then the goal is 6,000 schools. The idea here is that every school would be connected through their Lightning nodes in a type of private owned graph. So you can imagine that Uzbekistan will be connected to San Salvador and to Ataco, and so the liquidity can flow between communities. We put a high fee if they want to exit that high school type of network into the real world. So the students between each other will have basically 0 fee within their own Lightning graph, but they are connected to go aboard if they need. And also we hope for students basically to connect their own wallet to the node, so they stop using whatever nodes and they start to have like more sovereignty mindset. That is good for El Salvador, and so what it will bring is basically engineers, a good Lightning infrastructure, more resiliency, more hardcore Bitcoiners, but what is the bigger goal once El Salvador is done? I think what we try to make with the Sovereign Pack is basically creating the micro-banking economy. The same way with the micro-lending that was really popular, we can basically recreate a micro-banking system. And the question is like, what is the minimum cost to create a bank? Right now it's millions, but in Bitcoin, if we think about it, it's not that expensive. It's a start 9 or a node. You can go way cheaper by taking an old Mac Mini, which is like around $100. You need internet connection, so basically it's a Starlink, so you have to get Starlink. Then you probably just need an hardware wallet. You can use Seed Signer. So far, it's pretty common hardware that can be found everywhere. You probably need education. We are providing free online education through Plan B. So all the courses are going to be free, so the knowledge is already distributed, and they can have access to it with the internet. Then they probably need advanced courses if they want to use Fedimint, and if they don't want to use just Bitcoin. But again, it's education. And that's basically it. They already have a smartphone. And so if we provide all the equipment to a local Bitcoin community around the world and they use those tools, they can basically bootstrap their own bank with their own liquidity, connect themselves as one entity with another community that is doing the same. And that way we can basically create a graph of micro-banking that is highly resilient because they own Verifier. The idea is not to have like one node in every house. Maybe in Europe it will be possible, but it's not going to be the case for the rest of the world. So the idea is more to have like a community with a node, people using the node, using that liquidity, pitching in the liquidity to create their own connection, using the right tools, and be sovereign at a very tiny village/community states. And if we can manage to create an economy, like enough economy of scale to make the micro banking accessible for, let's say, not even $1,000, then it's really easy to distribute it around the world. And it's up to the Bitcoiners to simply use the tools and convince their local peers to connect into their banking. And that could grow into a really resilient Bitcoin ecosystem because we will not be all connecting to the same nodes. We will stop using massive Lightning Hub, and we can connect those communities together to make a stronger graph. I guess this is the end game, at least for me, and I think El Salvador is the perfect opportunity to bootstrap that, showcase that it works. If it works at the high school level in El Salvador, it can work at the adult level in any community around the world. Because then it proves that there's a business model. The ATM gets fee, the routing system gets fee, the community itself has sovereignty, which they use. So we can basically create a business model out of becoming your own bank at a really low scale. And I think that's really interesting, and no one actually tried to make it happen, or at least not in a scalable way, let's say. So yeah, I have more time so we can get questions. And I want to say that education is really important, but it should be fun. And so today we have 2 fun events to learn about Lightning. First of all, it's Chain Duel. If you don't know about that, it's a snake competitive game with Lightning. There's a tournament organizing today, so you should probably participate to that tournament. And tonight we're having and throwing up the Plan B Genesis party at Funky. It's a party. There will be a lot of Lightning experience, like a jukebox. You get your ticket with Lightning, so it's a fun way to enjoy the party. And tomorrow, I will be on stage with Giacomo talking about Plan B Network and how we are building basically a worldwide Bitcoin university to bring Bitcoin education worldwide. So thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, let's go. Any questions? All right. Go ahead.
This is for kids, but for adults to learn how to do a node. And do you have like a tutorial or something in your website? Or?
So yeah, if you want to learn how to run a node through the Plan B network platform, so planb.network, we have a lot of resources. We have tutorials on every node existing out there, from just Umbrel to Start9 to MyNode to ResBlitz. And in case you don't want just one tutorial but need a full course, we have Lightning 201, which basically gonna explain you how to set up your first Lightning node, understand the theory, secure it, open your first channels, and manage it. So we have all the resources. Everything is free and open source in multiple languages. Yes?
Hey, can I also volunteer if I'm not a Bitcoin engineer? Well, that rhymes, but
What, energy, Bitcoin energy?
can I also help volunteer if I'm not an engineer?
Yeah, of course. So in general, Decouvrez Bitcoin always want more volunteers because our mission is pretty massive. I mean, 1 billion people in 10 years, no, 7 now, 3 has passed. It's pretty big. So you can volunteer by either helping on the translation, you can help us when we organize events, like this one, like hackathon, like exam participation. You can come with us when we try to set up fun educational activity at the local schools, if you are maybe staying in El Salvador. So yeah, obviously all the help is welcome. We have like a volunteering system. So if you are committed and you want to help, there's definitely work for you. It can be even design, editing. It can be anything, basically. So yeah, if you want to help, reach out to me after, and I'd be happy to onboard you on the team. All right. Thank you.
All right, keep it going for Rogzy, ladies and gentlemen. You can handle them. Thank you.